if we're not touching on the emotion, we're just focusing on logic and just dumping logic on them left and right. I hate to tell you, but the professional who works in the world of emotion by asking better questions is the one that helps them open up the heart of their customer, and they begin to serve them and they begin to guide them. And then all of a sudden, premium isn't off the table.
Welcome to the Sales Made Simple podcast. This podcast is dedicated to helping overwhelmed outdoor living professionals, landscapers, and hardscapers just like you increase your closing rate to over 75% without doubling your workload so you can build a seven-figure business that doesn't need you. I'm your host, Joshua Gillow. Let's dig in.
Okay, so you crushed the proposal, the consult, everything is great. They smiled, your customer's excited about the project. You feel like, man, this is easy in the bag. I won this one, no problem. And then the dagger. Let me think about it. How many of you out there have felt that before, that dagger? It's like, man, everything was lined up. What happened? I'm here to tell you that's not a maybe. That's a no in disguise. Most people in life do not want to cause conflict, and they will do whatever it takes to stay away from building conflict. So the way they do that is by lying, but they do it with a smile. Customers do it all the time. They give you the false yes, big smile. Yes, sure, we're going to take a look. Let me think about it. Let me talk to my spouse. Always something to buy some time, because ultimately, quite honestly, they weren't interested in you at all, but they just didn't know how to say it without being complete idiots about it. So they don't want conflict, and they give you that, and they give you this false sense of winning. You go home, you're excited, you tell your team, you tell your family, you feel good, and then you find out you never hear back from them again. And here's the real reason why they said it. This is the important part here. It's because they weren't emotionally connected or sold on you. You came in and offered them what they asked for, and just that. Just enough, because you have other meetings to go to, you got other clients, you don't have time to spend with this customer. So you make it really quick. You get in, okay, you want a retaining wall, you want some plantings, you want, a new patio, you want, just keep running down the list. They want all those things. You write them out real quick. Say, no problem. I'll get you a quote for all of that stuff. And that's where it ends. Maybe some niceties up front. Hi, how you doing? Nice house. Hey, let's get to business and get it done. That is where most lose it. That is where most in our industry lose it. Customers weren't emotionally sold. There was no real connection, no real understanding the true driving force and why the customer needed to do this. Why this project? Why now? Kind of question. We don't know any of that. As an industry, we tend to move forward with whatever they tell us because it's quick, fast, and simple. But when customers don't feel seen, heard, or safe with you because you did all the talking, it wasn't about the customer at all. You heard what they needed, and Mr. Fix-It or Mrs. Fix-It come out and said, look, I know exactly how to fix your problem. I can take care of this. You get excited and you remove the emotional connection. That's really where we start to lose our customers. And our customers feel that. They feel it quickly. And unfortunately, they smile and say, sure, sounds good. Send me a proposal. And they're thinking, I'm never going to hire that person. There's no way. But they won't tell you that to your face. I should rephrase that. Very few will say that to your face. Most smile, give you the false yes, and move on. That's what let me think about it really means. So what likely went wrong is that you probably talked too much through the process, probably didn't ask a lot of questions. You probably just took the bait they gave you, and you talked about how your company's better, how it does a better job, how you've got the best testimonials. Perhaps you have the best website. You've been doing it the longest. You are talking the entire time. And what happens when you talk, we think we're leading by talking a lot, by coming in, having all the answers, knowing all the technical specs, knowing exactly what you would do in that space. And the customer just sits back and listens and shakes their head and thinking like, yep, that worked. Nope, I wouldn't do that. Yeah, okay, yeah, nope, sorry, not going to fit. Don't want that. We don't entertain like that, but he seems to think we do, or she seems to think we do it that way. Yeah, they're really not listening. They're dictating to me what's going to happen. And we as professionals think that that is the path, that coming in and leading by telling customers what's needed because we're the professionals, they've never done this before, is the right way. And I'm here to tell you, stop. That is not the way. The way is, or what you typically get into, is you start pitching without asking questions. Pitching without asking. Going into sell mode without really getting deeper to the customer's true needs, wants, and desires. Just because they told you doesn't mean that's the truth. It just means what they think is the truth based on the fact that they don't really know much about what they're doing in the backyard. So we have to be very careful for that. We need to get down to their why. Why are they doing this project? Why now? This is important stuff. If you can just ask a question like that, hey guys, so what's this? Why is this project so important to you? Oh, blah, 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 whatever. Our daughter is getting married this summer and we would love to have the wedding here in the backyard. Got it. So that answers both questions, right? Why this project and why now? We understand their driver. But if we don't know that, or if the customer doesn't divulge that because we didn't ask those questions, we'll never truly know why. And in that scenario, maybe they would be interested in adding some other things like lighting into the project or a water feature because this is a big day. They want the pictures to be perfect. They want the environment to be perfect. There's opportunity to serve them at a higher level. But if we don't know that because we're just building a patio like this and we need a patio in our backyard and they didn't really get into the why, you didn't ask, why this project, why now, then well, we're just going at it blindly, thinking we understand it. But when the next contractor comes out and meets with them, the next designer comes out and meets with them, and they say, hey, so why this project? Why now? The next thing you know, customers open up. We're having a wedding this summer. Our daughter's getting married, and we're going to have everything here. The families are all coming in and all that. Imagine how much more you've got to work with. You could start asking deeper questions. Well, what would the perfect wedding venue look like for you guys? And then once the wedding's over, how would you use this space? We want to make sure it's not just for one day, but for the rest of your life here in this house. And down the list of questions. Do you think a customer is more likely to pick a premium contractor, designer that ask questions like that, or the ones that say, oh, you called me for a patio, no problem, I can do that for you. Let me get my tape measure out and go see how big we can possibly put a patio back here for you. I'll get you a quote. Which one do you think the customer is going to be more open to paying premium for? Think about it. Oftentimes we also use as an industry logic before emotion. We think logic is going to sell the project. We think by telling them all the logical reasons why it makes sense to invest this percentage into your property of your house value, and why it's logical to have a patio, and why it's logical to do it in pavers versus stamped concrete or whatever it might be, why it's logical to do a patio instead of a deck, why it's logical for all of this stuff, because as men specifically, we think logical. People, they buy emotional, ladies and gentlemen. Over 80% of decisions are made emotionally, especially for backyards and outdoor living spaces. Because let's face it, they don't need it. It's not food. It's not shelter. It's not protection, security, the basic human needs. No, this is a nice to have. And this is an emotional buy. So if we're not touching on the emotion, we're just focusing on logic and just dumping logic on them left and right. I hate to tell you, but the professional who works in the world of emotion by asking better questions is the one that helps them open up the heart of their customer, and they begin to serve them and they begin to guide them. And then all of a sudden, premium isn't off the table. They might have been a very price conscious customer to start with, and it's okay. But that does not mean that they're always going to be that way. When you can demonstrate value, and you'll see that through this course, demonstrate value. We'll teach you how to do that. Pretty soon you become more valuable, which is how you can charge premium. And it's a simple process once you understand how. We will teach you. Next, you left them confused. If you, just like I mentioned in the last segment, if you're going in there dropping a couple of catalogs off, or hey, here's our portfolio, tell me which one you like the best, you're confusing them. As guides, we need to guide them in a process of giving them a top 2 or 3 that we think could work based on what answers we get from deep questions. Hey guys, what do you think of this? What if your backyard could do this? Would you use it more? Would you be more comfortable back there? If the answer is yes or no, if it's yes, you go one way. If it's no, you go the other way. So it's very important for you guys to be thinking about that. Also, if they don't feel it, they don't buy it. Most people. Now, there are always a couple of people on the outside that just care about getting the thing done, and that's possible. But the majority of people, if they don't feel you, if they don't feel you care, they don't feel like you understand truly what they want, whether you do or don't doesn't matter. It's whether they feel like you do. And this is where it gets a little bit crazy, right? Because we don't sell feelings, we sell outdoor living spaces. Yeah, I'm going to challenge you in those thinkings, because people that are spending this kind of money in their backyard, they really want to make sure that the person that they're writing a check to, 5, 6, 7-figure check, that they're in it, that they feel them, that they care. It's very important. So if you're struggling to get higher end clients and higher end projects, if you're struggling to be profitable on projects, it's most likely because you're skipping the emotion side. And if that is you, good news. We have an entire course about that. So buckle up. It's going to be fun. So anyway, that's the important part here. If there's no emotion, there's no action. It's quite simple. They need that. Customers need that idea, that buy-in, that feeling, you know what? This person, this designer, this contractor truly gets what I want, and they understand it, man. I feel like they're on my team. Like I'm building a team and these guys are at the top. They're going to lead the team. This is what it needs to feel like for them to dig deeper into their pockets, to be able to pay you the premium you're worth. And so you're not there scrapping at the bottom trying to get anything you can. So how to flip the script. You got to ask real emotionally charged questions. You'll see more of that coming up in the course. Deeper questions that allow for them to unpack things. We can't go in assuming things. We can't go in thinking like we know because they said they wanted the patio exactly what they need. We got these 3 packages, the 500, the 700, and the 900 square foot packages. And this is the simplest way to do it. And you know what? Customers don't want that. Most people that are buying outdoor living spaces want something specifically now, this day and age. They want something that represents them, their needs, wants, and desires, not what everybody else needs, wants, and desires. They want it to be unique and custom to them, just like their house, just like their own personalities. They want them to be personalized, these backyards, so that when their friends come over, their family come over, and they walk out and they're like, wow, this really feels like the owner of the house. This really feels like that family member. This is an extension of what they've already done inside the house, not something that was bolted on the back because it was cheap and part of a package. That's not what they want. Now, they might say they do up front, but what I'll tell you right now is that if they do buy that package and they're dissatisfied with it afterward, they're just going to keep the door shut in the backyard or barely go out there or not be out there working on building you a referral system by saying how amazing it was to work with you. That happens when you over-deliver. That happens when you listen deeply. So it's very important to ask good, deep, emotionally charged questions. We'll teach you how to do that as we move forward here. Next is to go deeper into the story and get to the why, right? The driving force of this project. Why are they doing it? Why this project? Why now? And pain outcomes. Don't focus so much on the install side of things. Like, what are they going to get? Is it at the end of the day, are they going to get, or at the end of the project, are they going to get a new patio so they can put some furniture on? Are they going to get a space that when they walk out to have that wedding, that they're going to be totally blown away by how beautiful the setting is and how amazing their daughter is going to look in that space? That's the difference. Features versus outcomes. Again, we're going to go deep into that coming up. So we have to be thinking about, what are we painting? We're painting the picture of the outcome, what they're going to get at the end, the emotional charged outcome. And then make sure that they feel safe, clear, and understood. Make sure your direction is very clear with them, that you know what's coming next. Always plan the next thing at the last thing to make sure that the next meeting is always ready to go in queue. Don't leave them hanging, because that builds up uncertainty, and uncertainty breaks deals. It's so important to make sure you keep certainty moving forward. So if you're tired of hearing, I got to think about it, it's time to start building trust, clarity, and confidence. And the way we do that is by asking great questions and connecting emotionally to our customers. It's very important.
What if you could close 75% of your projects without chasing, convincing, or dropping your price? That's not a dream. That's the mission. Mission 75. Here at Yes Express Sales Academy, we are spearheading a bold shift to help outdoor living contractors sell with confidence, not desperation. Because let's be real. You've been told to just give them a good price and hope for the best. You've been trained to beg for work and give away your time and compete with contractors who don't even play at your level. That ends now. I wrote the Core 10 Sales Playbook because it's the system I desperately needed 20 years ago. It's built for real-world, design-build contractors, not guys in suits. Inside, I'll show you how to qualify leads in minutes, speak to emotion, not features, cut confusion and eliminate ghosting, lead the sales call with calm authority, and close premium jobs without flinching. That book drops in January 2026. Check out the show notes to get on the list to be the first in line to grab your copy of the Core 10 Sales Playbook before they're gone. This isn't about working harder, it's about selling smarter, and it starts now. Let's raise the standard together.